Welcome to the Rock Your World Naturally podcast, the place where women from around the world come to discover God's plan for health in body, soul, and spirit. I'm your host, Rakesia McMillan, award-winning author, Air Force veteran, and health evangelist. I'm passionate about sharing biblical truth, scientific research, and practical lifestyle approaches to help heal your world naturally. You're listening to podcast episode 28, my exclusive interview with Anna Holub, champion of forgiveness, author, counselor, poet, and educator. Did you know that there is a clear path to peace? It's what the Bible refers to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. My special guest today, Anna Holub, will serve as a guide who will teach you how to find this pathway to peace. Anna Holub teaches forgiveness and recovery from addiction as a counselor, author, poet, and educator. She holds a BA in Peace Studies and an MA in Dispute Resolution from Pepperdine University School of Law. As an expert in the field of forgiveness and reconciliation, Anna was honored as a champion of forgiveness by the Worldwide Forgiveness Alliance. Anna works with individuals, couples, at-risk families, and anyone who wants to recover from addiction. Her mission includes work with San Quentin inmates in prison and with juvenile offenders. She has provided restorative justice, poetry, and peace education to incarcerated people since 2002. She is a frequent speaker on the essential role of forgiveness in various settings, including festivals, seminars, and psychedelic medicine and restorative justice conferences. Her books include Forgive and Be Free and The Edges Are Friendly. She has also created 4 online courses including Addiction Recovery and Complete Healing. As the author of Forgive and Be Free, forgiveness will heal you, free you, and catapult your life into a completely new territory of blessings and miracles. This comprehensive guide offers a step-by-step approach to forgiveness with the spiritual foundation that is necessary for ultimate healing. With personal stories, case histories, and hands-on exercises, Anna Holub brings you safely through emotional hardships and into serenity. You'll learn to offer forgiveness to yourself and others, meet your past with compassion, and discover the profound benefits of release, healing, and divine consciousness. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the show, champion of forgiveness, author, counselor, poet, and educator, Anna Holub.
Thank you, Rakesia. So great to be here.
Oh, it's so great to have you. I am looking forward to our interview and what you have to share with our audience today. And I know that it's going to be so impactful as well as transformational to our listeners. And usually, Anna, before we get into the show, I open up with an icebreaker question. So if you could let our listeners know, what are you doing in your life right now that is simply rocking your world naturally?
Oh my goodness, great question. I am planting my garden and I love to do that. And I feel really blessed because I live in this place where I have my own space, but I have neighbors around and we all share a common garden. And we got a couple of ducks and a few chickens. And so I'm putting my garden in right now and I'm just super happy about that.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I grew up as a kid, like my parents always had a garden, and I remember just having so much fun with that. And so that's something I'd like to do in the future, but I know that it's amazing to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm in Southern Oregon just to give people a sense of where I'm at, and it's got a really good growing season, so I'm happy about that. Growing my vegetables, my flowers, and my herbs.
Oh, and I love that part of the region. It's just those wide open spaces and being able to create and grow. So, Anna, you are someone who has a gift that our world desperately needs today, and your niche, your specialty is that you specialize in forgiveness.
That's right.
Um, can you share with our audience a little bit about your work and what it is that you do?
Sure. Well, my focus is on forgiveness as a way for us to come into contact with our spirit. And so the work that I do is spiritual, but it's not religious, and everyone is welcome. So if you have a religious path, you can bring it with you. If you don't, that's cool too. And it's really about teaching people to let go deeply, soul level, let go of the fears and the sorrow and the suffering that we've gone through, so that we can open up our intuitive channel and be connected to our spirit that gives us life, and also to our purpose. So when I know a lot of us know, gosh, I'm not totally happy, or maybe I'm feeling depressed or anxious, and that's totally understandable, especially now and how the world is changing so much. And the way out of that is to really unlayer ourselves from the past history and the memories. And because if we don't do that, then we just drag it around with us. And there are a lot of different ways to describe this, but what I feel is so beautiful is that in forgiveness, we just really recognize, okay, I want to be done, either forgiving other people or situations or ourselves. Just say, how can I be free of this? And this expanded forgiveness model that I teach helps people to learn this skill. It's a skill that you learn that you will take with you for the rest of your life. And it opens up the light and the love and the peace that we all want to feel.
Wow, I think that's so incredible, Anna. And you just hit on so many different points there where you said that we have to dig deep into that inner soul of reaching the brokenness and getting beyond and unpeeling it in a sense of getting past the layers. And there's so much, whether it's emotional trauma, whether it is things that we have experienced in our past history that we just truly have not dealt with, that are hindering us from reaching our highest purpose, from achieving our greatest aspirations in life. And some individuals may not know that depression that they're experiencing, as you shared, or that that need to move forward and not being able to because they're being held back with some type of hurt that they just have not let go of.
Right. And there are so many levels and layers to this, because there are times, certainly in my life, and then I've worked with a lot of people, that, we have our personal layer of being an individual and having our family, but then we also have what I call the family soup that we got born into. Mm-hmm. So that has all kinds of ingredients in it. And when we get here, we come from the mystery, we drop down into a family, we have our life. And when we're tiny like that, even when we're in the womb and for the first 6 years at least of our life, we just absorb everything around us. So yes, kind of had no choice. And that means that we're all innocent, because no matter where you dropped into in your family was a happy place or a not so happy place, everybody in it, they experienced that too when they were little. And so there are generational layers to what we are born into. And there's also cultural layers. There's historical trauma that has influenced us. And that's all to say, okay, great. That's all there. It might be beautiful and and it's all deep, but it also might be very, very painful. But we don't have to live with that for the rest of our lives. There is a way that we can heal those places. And for me, I do it on behalf of myself as an individual, but I also do it on behalf of the whole, on behalf of every single person. Because when one of us lightens up and wakes up, it affects everyone and everything and the earth. So the more that we do this together and we learn how, the more we have the kind of peace on earth and the heaven on earth that we want to see and feel and experience together.
Oh, absolutely. And I love the fact where you were talking about that, the families that we were born into, and none of us gets to choose. None of us gets to choose, but we do experience those things at such a young age that kind of frame and form and shape who we are, as individuals today. And I will never forget that there was a professor that I had spoken to years ago, and he was talking about doing inner soul work. And he said, if you ever have the chance or the opportunity, consider possibly working with children. Because if we can help them to heal at a younger age, the things that we see so many adults experience in their life goes back to what you were talking about, Anna, being in those circles within the home, whether it's historical, whether it's generational. All of those things impact us as who we are as adults, and carrying that emotional trauma, those things that have not been let go, really impact not only the individual, but everyone and everything that they're connected to.
Yeah, in our relationships, and whether we can feel love and peace with each other, or whether our life is just like a constant drama of conflict, that has to do with how we're carrying what we think life is about and who we think we are. And so the more connected to spirit we get by, like you were saying, unwinding, unlayering these extras that we don't need to carry. We don't have to carry this suffering for the rest of our life. Just don't. And we need to get developmentally to a point where we can say to ourselves, all right, I want to keep the love. I want to keep the goodness. I want to keep my talents and my gifts. And I want to let go of anything that is in the way of me feeling inner peace. And that's the kind of forgiveness that I teach. It's not the traditional model. It's more, what can I learn? What am I here to learn? What am I here to bless and uplift? And doing that not so much in a religious context, but in a more open, universal context where anyone can participate.
And that's so powerful. And it's, again, giving yourself permission to let go so that you can move forward.
Yeah. One of the really important things is to realize that there's nothing wrong with us. If we get into this place where we need to fix it, we need to fix it because something's terribly wrong. And I went through years of feeling that way. And then I started to notice, and I wrote about this in my book, by the way. It's called Forgive and Be Free. And part of it is my story. And I wrote about how I realized that underneath every single anxious or depressed thought that I had was, I must have done something horribly wrong. And I couldn't figure out really what it was, although I had some things that I wasn't proud of, like most of us do. But it was so strong. And then I realized, okay, this is the major falsehood. And I think it's something that a lot of us carry, that, we think there's something tragically wrong. And underneath that is the innocence. So when we let go of that, we learn how to let go of it. There's the innocence of when we came in, every single one of us came in as a fresh, new, beautiful being of light. And we can return to that and relax inside of ourselves.
That's so good, Anna. And you mentioned that you had written that in your book. for those that are listening and you are connecting with what Anna is saying, what she is sharing, and you're doing a little bit of inner soul searching and you're thinking, maybe there's something in my life that I haven't addressed that I really want to be free from, and I'm ready to move forward. Anna, can you share where they can find your book?
Yes, my book is available on Amazon. It's also available on Audible, and I did the recording myself. So for those of you who like to listen, check it out on Audible. And there are also some online courses about forgiveness, also about addiction recovery and forgiveness. And I'm always adding to those courses, and those can be found on my website, which is holub.com.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
A little bit about the addiction. I believe it's the recovery work that you do in the area of forgiveness. Can you share a little bit about that, Anna, and how that work takes place, and just again giving our audience a little insight into the work that you do there?
Sure. Well, the expertise that I have is not in a rehab. I don't do the technical stuff about helping people to detox. That's not my area. And the thing that I do focus on is when people are in recovery or wanting to be in recovery from any kind of addiction, be it a substance abuse problem or a behavioral addiction or a subtle one that nobody else knows about. It's just in your mind, but it's repeating patterns that are dragging you down. All of that can be healed and released through this radical forgiveness process that I teach. And so when we combine the forgiveness work with the recovery work, it's very beautiful because it helps people who are either on the path of recovery now or just curious and wanting to start getting into it. It gives us a path to walk that gets healthier and healthier and saner and more joyful, because we're not trying to fix that we're horribly broken and awful. We're just taking off layers of extra that we took on that weigh us down. And it's the whole thing. I sometimes talk about it as this beautiful striptease that we're doing. And I don't mean that in an offensive way. I mean it in a beautiful way, that we're just the layers, like one by one by one by one. Just take them off, so that we get naked before our Creator in this way that we feel safe and accepted. And I feel like that's what deep down all of us are craving, that feeling.
Oh, and I love that you say that we need to be able to strip down, because it reminded me in the beginning of creation with Adam and Eve, there's a specific verse that says that they were naked and not ashamed.
Yeah.
And I think putting it in the context of what you just shared, Anna, that stripping those things down, knowing that it's okay for us to be naked, meaning that we can be vulnerable, that we can just get down to the very essence of who we are and just be in that place of love, be in that space of peace, to know that, I don't have to carry this anymore. I don't have to carry the layers, the weight, the shame of whatever that was that an individual may have experienced in their life.
Yes, and we return to the garden.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm amazed because I started off talking about how I'm planting my garden. And then you brought that up, which I actually haven't seen before. And thank you for that, in the beginning, we were comfortable in our own skin, right? And we had everything that we needed. And we want to get back there. And all we need to do is return.
Mm.
Return to the light of who we are and be able to feel that. And I feel like everybody at some point has had a flash of that. Some people live in it quite a bit, and other people are just coming towards it. But all of us deep down, we have our original beauty and our original point of light that we are.
Now, Anna, you have many, many gifts. So you are a writer, you're a speaker, you're a healer of the soul of people, and you also are a poet. So can you share a little bit about when you first started getting into poetry and when you started writing?
Sure. One thing I'll say, though, I just want to back up to something you just said about me being a healer. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm a guide, and God or spirit or divine love, that's the healer. So I just wanted to mention that
Mm.
part. And about the poems, um, I wrote songs and poems when I was, I don't know, in my 20s. And then I
Mm.
kind of stopped for a while and I got into other things and I just was busy with other things. And then the songs and the poems both came back to me when I was in my 40s. Some of the songs and poems that I wrote earlier, I dug out of the journal, and found them again. And then I went through a time where I wrote a lot of poems. I was in a relationship with a man who really brought that out in me.
Mm.
It was a very creative, beautiful time, and I wrote a lot of poems during that time. And then I continued to. He's passed on now, but I still write occasionally when the spirit moves me.
And that's a gift in itself because the words can penetrate and they're just so powerful. And I love poetry because it's so unique in the way that it can reach and touch the soul of a person.
Sure, I'm honored to offer a poem, and this connects with intuition,
Mm.
as my intuition, from which I feel is our link to spirit, is saying, get these poems out there, don't keep them in your journal, get them out. And so this is my way of doing that. And I also, in sharing my creativity, I'm also saying to everybody listening, hey, get into it. Whatever is your joy, whatever is your creative muse way of getting your talents out there, do it. All right. Because that's what brings us more joy and more art in the world. Okay. So here's the poem. It's called Please. And it's a prayer poem. Please, please remind me of my dedication, the one I made first thing this morning. Round about 1 p.m. or 3:30 or many times, daily, hourly. Remind me. I need the gentle touch of warm wind or the soft moss colors of lichen on trees to lift me up out of the spell. Remind me, please.
That was absolutely beautiful, powerful, powerful. Just getting the visual of the reminders of that are all around us, whether it's in creation or daily life, to give us that reset in a sense to stay focused on the path, the purpose, the vision, the dream, whatever that is, to constantly have those reminders to gently nudge us to keep us on that path that we are to follow. That was absolutely beautiful.
Thank you, Akeisha.
With your work, Anna, what is it that really motivated you to do what you are doing at this moment?
Oh man, that's such a huge question. And I think it's because I feel like each one of us comes in with certain themes that we're working with. And one of the themes for me is about peace. It's about looking around ever since I was little, and also in the family that I grew up in. And my story, again, is in the book. And it's briefly that I grew up in a family that looked really good on the outside and was very troubled on the inside. And so it was very confusing as a kid to be like, wait, what's happening here? There was some mental illness in my family, and it was just difficult for everybody. No one's fault, but it it uh, it helped spur me on in this place of, well, how do I get to inner peace? How do I do it? Because I don't know how, you know? So that's been a big call for me, and I've studied it academically. I have a master's in dispute resolution. I'm a mediator, and I facilitate meetings, and I do communication skills. That's like a whole other part of what I've done in the past, and I still do sometimes. And so that's more the outer piece, but the inner piece is really where I'm exploring myself and growing every day and wanting to share that with others, because when I look around in the world, I feel like, oh my gosh, there's so much for us to do to clean up, and have the world that we want. But we can't do that unless we're really connected inside and feeling that inner peace.
Mhm. So would you say that inner peace, that aspect of your work that you do, would you say that that's the part that you enjoy the most?
The part that I enjoy the most is when I'm doing sessions with people, and I do that with people all over the world. So it's just a total miracle to me that I could meet someone from either in person or wherever they are and drop into such a deep soul level place. And my joy is to commune with my clients, and my students and the readers of my book, to go into this place together, because really that's the joy, and that's the truth, is that we are not separate. We do live in this moment together. And the more that we can relax into this and enjoy it, the more we will have a beautiful life.
You love to be able to commune with them. And that's such a deep, powerful word because it goes beyond the superficial and it goes deep into that inner soul work, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I feel very honored to be doing this work and growing in it all the time myself, and using the tools that I teach other people. I definitely use them. So it's fresh.
Mhm. Earlier, Anna, you also mentioned some of the courses that you have. Can you kind of just share those courses again with our listeners that are listening, so that they can get an idea of what's available and what you have to offer?
Yeah, of course. Well, there's one that is about the forgiveness method that I teach. So these courses you can learn in the privacy of your own home, in the timing that works for you. And they're not super expensive, by the way. These are not $1,000 courses. These are affordable. They're under $300. So, yeah, there's one on forgiveness. There's one called addiction recovery and complete healing. And that's the combination of the recovery and the forgiveness work. There are also a couple of other ones that are on my website, and they're also housed on a different site. There's one on about A Course in Miracles, which is my guiding spiritual text. And so I wrote a course for people who are interested in A Course in Miracles, but it's big and thick, and the language is kind of funny, and should I get into this? What is this book all about? And so it's like that for people. And then there's another one about emotional health and learning very simple tools to learn how to calm down, learning mindfulness, learning some breath techniques. So that's the other one.
Mhm. Thank you so much. And for those that are listening that, again, want to take the journey to inner healing in the area of forgiveness. So I want to highly encourage you to connect with Anna. She is a true gift, and I know that the work that she does will truly be a blessing to your life. You can find her on the web at Anna Holub, that's ANAHOLUB.com. Anna, is there anything else that you'd like to share with our listeners on today?
Just that I'm sending a lot of love to everyone and to keep the faith. Courage and trust are our best friends right now. And let's be kind to each other.
Well said, Anna. It has truly been a pleasure, a blessing to be able to host you on today. And my hope is that we'll be able to connect again in the future. I would love to have you back on the show. But again, it has been my pleasure to host you and to interview you on today.
Thank you, Akeisha. What an honor to be here with you as well. And I'll come back whenever you say we can have this conversation again.
Oh, absolutely. And I wish you all of the best in all of your future work, and take care and be well.
Thank you. You too.
For health tips, faith-based education, and inspiration, visit www.rockyourworldnaturally.com and on Facebook at Facebook.com/rockyourworldnaturally and Twitter at twitter.com/rockyourworld28.